Hey Spirited Seekers, I've been meaning to make this video for so long because I get so many of you asking me how I schedule my month according to my cycle to harness the energetic superpowers of what it is to be a woman. This, I truly believe, is the new way forward. Honoring the different phases of our cycle means that we're no longer shaming or blaming ourselves for not being able to show up in the same way that men can because we're biologically wired different. Our hormones are such an important part of our makeup, and for too long we've been conditioned to act in a way that is linear when the feminine actually just flows and moves and is anything but. So I really hope this gives you some insight as to how you can carve a new paradigm with the feminine at the forefront to take more care of your sweet self and also give yourself space to just really be a woman, you know? So let's just get straight into it. How I do this is usually with a big piece of paper. I sit down every bleed. So on the first or second day of my bleed, which we call your winter phase, I sit down and do this because winter is typically known for the time when the veil is the thinnest between you and your truth, you and your ultimate wisdom. So this is the time where, you know, it's nice to be more inward, take more solitude, take it easy, more time away from technology, maybe into nature, maybe disconnect from work and the opinions or energies of others so that you can really regroup and turn inward and just recenter, recalibrate, and kind of take check of how you're feeling, where you're at, and what's coming for the month ahead. So I have just finished my bleed, but I'm filming this now because I'm still in my winter phase, which is roughly days 1 to 5. Day 1 of your cycle is the first day that you bleed. So I break this page up into 4 phases, and you can call them the scientific names, but like the luteal, feticular, but that doesn't sound like much of a turn on to me. I prefer to use the names of the seasons because then you can kind of resonate with the energies of these phases a little bit more. So your winter is your bleed, over here. And I like to make mine like a cycle to reflect the app that I use to track my period, which is called Clue. It's free. You can upgrade to get all of the fun other features, but this just helps me keep track of where I'm at, and also kind of like you can track your symptoms, track your skin, your energy levels, your everything. It's really, really helpful to start to then learn the inner workings of your body and your energy, your cravings, what you need, so that you can then pre-plan for what you need in those phases. So if this is totally new to you, it's totally okay. You will learn really, really quickly. And especially if you don't have a regular cycle, this is a great practice as well. Just to be aware of where you are at and what might be going on with your body. So we've got our winter, spring, summer, fall. I call it fall because I resonate more with that than autumn, but you can use either, obviously. Now what I want you to write down next to your little subheadings. Winter is day 1 to 5. Spring is day 6 to 13. This is all an approximation. Every single cycle, every single woman is different. So don't confine yourself into yet another box. This is just to use as a guide. Summer is days 14 to 21 approximately, and fall is 22 to 30, depending on how long your cycle is. For me, I have an almost to the day 28-day cycle every single month. However, depending on my stress levels, how much I've emotionally expressed, whether or not I've been traveling on planes lots, my cycle can extend out or come forward if I've done a lot of like deep emotional release work. So for example, this month I was 4 days early because I sat in ceremony and I feel like I kind of shook a lot of stuff up and released it. So all I do now is just tune into the coming month and what is really here for me now. So what is present for me in this winter? What clarity has come up? what truths need to be told. As I said before, your winter is really the phase to reconnect to that deepest, softest, tender, infinite part of you, so that then you can map out the cycle ahead with a lot of intention and care for yourself. And I love to use cards as a guide for the energies of each phase. I roughly know now the woman that I kind of show up as within each phase. There are certain qualities, and I'll go through them as we move through each phase. But for now, before I even think about it, ponder it too much, contemplate it, all I'm going to do is tune into the wisdom of my body and ask that truth to come forward. And as I shuffle these cards, all I'm doing is putting the intention out to have the most easeful, effortless, aligned month ahead. And so for each phase, what do I need to know, keep in mind? How do I take care of myself? What is the general theme of each phase for me? Okay, so I'm going to pull my cards, one for each phase. We've got winter, spring, summer, and fall. And this just is like a fun way for me to have a visual aid to, and this is just a fun way for me to have a visual aid to the cycle ahead. This just feels fun to me. If cards aren't your thing, don't do it. This is totally personal and totally private and intimate space with you. I love to light some Palo Santo, some candles, maybe smell some essential oils, get into my cozies, and just make this really, really intimate with yourself, because that's the whole point, right? So if this isn't your jam, leave it out. But I really find the cards, because they're so beautiful, they turn on my designer brain. I get really lit up by visuals and just help me attach and commune with that more cosmic realm, which is what we have deeper access to when we're in our menstruation. So for me, all I do then is kind of look over each card, feel into any immediate messages that come up, and just list it underneath each phase. It might be a word, it might be an activity, something that actually needs to be done. So later on I come in through with my schedule and write down any actual commitments that I have, whether it's a podcast interview or a client call or a deadline for a website design, or perhaps I'm creating a new course content, or socializing with friends, there's an event on. All of those things I bring into this as well, to know when it's going to sit in my cycle and how I can best support myself around those commitments, so that they don't end up feeling like obligations if my energy levels are low or I haven't been taking care of myself. Does that make sense? So I just go through and think, okay, winter right now, this card said loosen your grip, and that makes a lot of sense to me right now. So I'm going to just simply write down a few of those messages that immediately come through. Your spring phase, which is after your bleed, is a little bit more lightness, a bit more emergence and curiosity. So in the same way that it happens in nature, everything starts to come back alive and wake up again. So your spring phase is a really good time to start gentle movement, not pushing yourself too hard, but getting back in the flow of creativity and playfulness. Your inner spring kind of reflects the maiden archetype, wanting to frolic and play. So perhaps take her out on a date. Maybe take her to a dance class, or out into nature, or into some kind of creative project. This is a really good time to start new habits and then follow them through for the rest of your cycle, because as I said, everything is like waking up and coming back alive in a new way after the darkness of the winter. As we move into your summer phase, this is where everybody really, if we're not attuned to the beauty of each phase of the menstrual cycle as a woman, the summer is where we most want to live. This is when we're vibrant, turned on, we're ovulating, we feel really like vibrant and radiant and magnetic. We have high energy, we're able to smash workouts and an 8-hour workday or a 10 or a 16-hour workday. We're feeling really on. And this is the way that most of the world conditions women to show up as all the time, which is why when we are in our fall and things are winding down and our energy drops, we think there is something wrong with us. So become really curious over this next cycle, how these phases come out in you. What archetypes do you identify as or express? So fall, and by the way, if you want more information about this, there are so many incredible teachers out there. Alicia Rose Kruger on Instagram, Wellsome Gemma, who I've done a podcast with, and you can find that over on my blog at spiritedseeker.com/musings. I'll actually link that below because that is an awesome conversation. You can find more out about the actual, the scientifics of what's happening within your body physiologically, what foods will most support you, what kinds of movement, what mantras and affirmations, what self-care rituals will take care of you, and so much more. Kind of like go deeper into the traits of each phase. But for now, I'm just running you through how I schedule them. And so fall, I always take into consideration because I know my energy levels are dropping and I'm kind of embodying the wild woman archetype, which is kind of just my Sagittarius ramped on high, which is a bit more blunt, a bit more harsh with what's no longer in alignment. So your autumn or your fall phase is a really good truth-telling phase to notice what is irritating or triggering you and realize, maybe there's something off here. Where have I overcommitted or over-obligated? Where have I said yes out of people-pleasing? Where have I not prioritized my body and my self-care? Where have I pushed it? And your body will let you know. I know for me that if I, as I said before, don't emotionally express my needs throughout that cycle, my cycle is a little bit longer and I have a much more painful bleed. It's just so much more intense with the cramps. It's very emotional. I'll fall asleep on the floor and cry because my body is doing it for me to process what is left behind so that it doesn't come through into the next cycle. Now, if you're really good at suppressing that, popping pills, soldiering on, being like the women in the tampon ads that are still playing tennis and slaying the day, if you're in your bleed, that's totally okay. I just invite you to become more curious about what's happening internally throughout these different phases for you so that you can schedule according to your cycle to just ensure that you're harnessing those innate superpowers that you have as a woman, a cyclic being, right? So for the fall is usually where I schedule something that feels really lush and self-nourishing. Maybe I'll get my lashes done. Maybe I will ask for a massage from my lover, or just schedule out a whole afternoon where there's no emails, no technology, and I can go out into nature and just be by myself. So what I do after I've had a look of my cards and kind of tuned into what might be coming intuitively, I then input all of the current commitments, deadlines, obligations, things that I have to do, things that absolutely need to get done, and then also my rituals. So perhaps I have certain goals around movement or hydration or meditation or something like that within my business maybe, and I input those as well. So that at the end I have this full comprehensive map of each phase, the actionables within each phase, the intuitive messages to be guideposts for where I'm at and to what I could be exploring and unpacking. And then how I'm also going to be taking care of myself around those obligations and commitments. Obligations is a gross word. I'm not going to use that anymore. Commitments. And then I also have all of the ways that I'm going to show up for myself in a new way. And this just gives me something to refer back to when I feel like I've strayed from my center, when I might be caught up in a bit of stress or a whirlwind, I refer to my cycle map to realize, okay, right. I actually scheduled a whole day in nature now because I know that I really need that, and that's what will make me most productive, is if I actually unplug and take a day away to regroup. I'm going to do that, because if I keep pushing and I keep forcing, I know that when it comes to the end of my fall and up to my bleed, it's going to be a much more intense time, and I'm going to have to take that time anyway. Or perhaps I get to my spring or my summer and I have nothing planned. I'll get a little bit like restless and want to play and want to put that pressure on other people to entertain me, right? So it's all a really fun exploration. Like I said before, it's super intimate, super personal. Yours is not going to look like mine. I have a photo in the blog post that I'll tag below as well, of a previous cycle map that I have filled out, so you will be able to kind of run your eyes over what those activities look like, but just use this as guideline and really run with it for you, because nobody knows your body, your cycle, your phases, your energy, your emotional landscape better than you do, and this is just an opportunity to deepen your learning and your self-knowing. So I hope you got a lot out of that. I'm so excited. If you make one of these yourself for your next cycle, using this video and using the blog post as a guide with the energetic qualities of each phase to help clarify what you put in each phase, then please tag me in it over on Instagram, or even hashtag Spirited Seekers Cycle Map. I would be so stoked to see more women harnessing their fucking superpowers and showing up, building the new way, birthing a new age into being, where we are honoring and embodying each of the incredible archetypes that we really are, because that is the power that we have. Thank you for tuning in. Make sure to share this with a woman who needs to know her own power and who might be curious about creating their own cycle map. And I will see you next time.